Tonight, a school pays tribute to the teenager stabbed to death on a bus in Woolwich. Today named as Kylian Bokassa, the 14-year-old was described as funny, kind and ambitious as police hunt for his killer.
Two young boys running down this little path, and they have a massive machete about this big on them.
Also ahead, two Londoners missing after going hiking in Italy. Authorities say a body has been found. The Met Police investigated over how it handled allegations against former Harrods boss Mohammed Al Fayed.
It's different, very different to the Premier League ball, and you have to adapt to that because it flies different. When you touch it, the grip is very different as well. So you adapt to that.
Good evening. A 14-year-old boy who was stabbed to death on a bus yesterday afternoon has been named as Kylian Bokassa. Today his school said he was funny, kind and ambitious. An aspiring rapper, Kylian was attending New Haven School in Greenwich, a pupil referral unit for young people who need extra support outside of mainstream education. Tonight police are still on the hunt for the killer, as ITV News can reveal two men carrying a machete were seen running away from the scene. With the latest, here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Like many boys of his age, Kylian Bokassa had dreams of making it big as a drill rapper. In his videos, he called himself Gripper. But yesterday, the 14-year-old was stabbed to death on a double-decker at Woolwich in South London. CCTV footage from flats close to the bus stop where he died appears to show two other youths running away towards the Thames. Vince is the lettings manager at one of the blocks.
You can see the young boy and two young boys running down this little path, and they have a massive machete about this big on them. We don't see much, I've been told, but after you see them running, they turn another corner. They're just quite calm, like nothing happened. It was disturbing to hear that they were just so relaxed.
Today, the main road next to the bus stop was reopened, but the car park around the flats was still inside a police cordon, awaiting forensic science experts. This is the first murder of a teenager in London since the start of 2025, but it's a familiar story. A young person with their whole life ahead of them, the victim of the capital's knife crime epidemic. An epidemic which parents here are all too aware of.
I was panicking, thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Is the children okay? Are they okay? Are they going to get home okay? It's just terrifying, especially when you've got kids around that age as well. My daughter's 13 this week and he's 14. It's like, oh my gosh.
It's shocking for a kid that young. It becomes some of the things that we hear often among youngsters, and as a parent myself, I found it really very appalling.
It's a measure of the scale of the problem in Greenwich that the dangers of knife crime are on the curriculum in local secondary schools.
We know the concern and the impact that it has on families, on communities and friends, and even schools. You know, seeing a school community have to mourn the loss of a friend is very, very difficult. That's why we're working with our schools.
Tonight, Kylian Bokassa's all-too-short life will be remembered at a vigil organised by a local church.
It's something that we all want to stop, and I think that's why we all feel it's important that young people know that they are cared for and that they do have a future. And, you know, we are trying to do our best for them in the community.
Kylian went to New Haven School in Eltham, a pupil referral unit, which issued a statement today saying, "We are devastated at the tragic death of this funny, kind and ambitious young man. It comes at a time when he was working incredibly hard at school to build on the successes he had already achieved since joining us." The riverside path along the Thames, which his killer or killers may have used as an escape route, appeared to be part of the crime scene. Simon Harris, ITV News, Woolwich.
The body of a missing Londoner has been found on a mountain range in Italy. Sam Harris and Aziz Ziriat were hiking in the Dolomites and had not been seen or heard from since the 1st of January. This afternoon, authorities confirmed they had found Sam's body, but have had to hold off the search for Aziz due to bad weather conditions. Earlier, a friend of both told ITV News how devastated he is by what's happened. Helen Keenan reports.
I'm going to attack this today, get up into some of the 3,000 bits which are up yonder.
A glimpse of the adventure best friends filmed hiking through the Italian Dolomites. mountains that cost one of them their lives.
And we're not taking our packs today for the last 2 days, lugging them up this godforsaken valley.
35-year-old Sam Harris from London, today discovered buried beneath the snow. His friend, Aziz Ziriat, still hasn't been found. In southeast London today, their friend Joe told us he's devastated.
Every weekend for years I would have seen Aziz, and most weekends seen Sam. So to think now that there won't be another weekend that I will see them is something that I'm not willing to comprehend just yet. We've been really hopeful for the outcome that we wanted. So yeah, it's going to take some time to sink in, but yeah, absolutely devastated. They're the core, or part of the core of a group of boys that all went to school together in Teddington. The main thing for us is that we wanted to see Aziz and Sam again, and to be told that that's not going to happen is something that is, hard to come to terms with.
The pair didn't board their return flight almost a week ago, and Aziz's girlfriend couldn't get hold of him, and the alarm was raised. They are both experienced hikers and had been planning to shelter in huts, but only their backpacks and equipment were found. Today, Italy's Alpine Rescue Service tracked their last known location and found Sam's body at the foot of a rockfall.
We follow the track of Aziz's phone. We don't have the track of Samuel. The weather in the mountains is really different from one place to another, from one top to another.
Days of fog and avalanche warnings have hindered searches and may halt them tomorrow. The bad weather is expected to clear by Friday, and the search for Aziz will continue. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
Next tonight, UK Athletics has been charged with corporate manslaughter over the death of a Paralympian who died at Newham Leisure Centre. Abdullah Hayeye was hit on the head by a metal pole during training in 2017. Well, Sharon Thomas is across the story for us. And Sharon, this is a significant update, nearly 8 years on.
I know it really is, and what is such a tragic story now. Abdullah Hayeye was in training, preparing to compete for his country in the discus. He was from the United Arab Emirates at the World Para Championships in London at the London Stadium back in July 2017, when sadly the discus cage collapsed around him. Now you can see the aftermath there in the footage. The pink metal poles were literally collapsing around him. He was hit on the head by one of them, was trapped underneath and sadly died 20 minutes later. Now this actually happened at Newham Leisure Centre just a few days before the start of the competition in July 2017. Now, organisers considering cancelling it at the time, but decided to go ahead. Now, Abdullah Hayeye was just 36 years of age. He had 5 children. His teammates have described him as the centre of happiness, joyful, positive, smiling, always helping others. Now, today, this latest development is that the Met Police and the Crown Prosecution Service have said that 77-year-old Keith Davis from Leytonstone in East London. Now, he was head of sport at the time in 2017 for the World Para Athletics Championships. He's been charged with gross negligence manslaughter and 1 count of a safety offence. And UK Athletics, the national governing body, of course, for athletics, has been charged with corporate manslaughter and 1 count of health and safety offences. Now, both are due to appear before Westminster magistrates at the end of the month, the 31st of January.
All right, Sharon, thank you. Well, TfL says the Mayor's decision to cut tube and train fares on Fridays to boost passenger numbers made no noticeable difference to demand. The 13-week pilot involved making Friday fares off-peak at all times of the day. Sadiq Khan called the trial groundbreaking when it was launched in March last year, but a report has found there were no discernible changes in ridership data. The judges ruled all Addison Lee drivers should be classified as workers following an historic case. Around 700 drivers argued that they were workers rather than self-employed contractors and were therefore entitled to holiday pay and minimum wage. The tribunal states that all drivers will be able to backdate compensation for more than 2 years. The Met Police is being investigated over its handling of allegations against former Harrods boss Mohammed Al Fayed. The IOPC, the police watchdog, has announced it's looking into 2 complaints that have been made. Kath Patter is at New Scotland Yard for us this evening. Kath, what are the details?
Well, Lucretia, we know that more than 100 alleged victims have contacted the police about sexual abuse by Al Fayed. This investigation pertains to 2 of these complaints, and They'll be examining whether there were any missed opportunities by the police or any failures by the Met. Now, why is this happening now? Well, in 2008, which is when those complaints were made, investigators sent files to the Crown Prosecution Service for a charging decision. The CPS was then asked on 3 occasions for something known as early investigative advice. However, this matter was not pursued further by the police. In a statement, the IOPC said that it is important that an investigation is carried out into these complaints to identify if there were any missed opportunities or failures by officers to properly investigate these reports made back in 2008. Lucrezia, the Met are currently reviewing 21 allegations of sexual abuse by Al Fayed. It's possible that this review may reveal more failures by the police, and that's why the IOPC have today said that although they're currently investigating 2 complaints, how they were handled, it's possible that number may rise.
All right, Kath at News Scotland Yard, thank you. Still to come, how your morning coffee could be saving your life, and
it's that time of year when these prickly little numbers get all over your floor. But I've been out with a charity today who are putting these trees to good use.
But first, tributes are being paid this week to drag artist The Vivienne, who died over the weekend at the age of 32. Well, The Vivienne, also known as James Lee Williams, rose to fame after winning the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race UK.
Don't get too comfy, girls. This isn't going to take 2 minutes.
Poncho, headscarf. I am just living for this look. She's the rich duchess. I'm the gorgeous daughter. We're going to the Serpentine Ball.
Not with Jamie.
Who got the power?
Well, despite being a performer at the top of her game, friends say the Vivienne regularly received homophobic abuse, and now one of her co-stars on Drag Race has written an open letter saying that this is the reality of life in the UK and that our society shames queer people to death. Well, I'm joined now by Colin Seymour, who wrote that letter. Colin, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. Difficult time. I just want to say right from the beginning, and I know you say it in your letter, because it is important for us to say that we're drawing no connections between the homophobic abuse and the Vivienne's death.
Correct.
But why did you feel the need to write this open letter?
For many reasons. Partially, I wanted to write a tribute to my friend who died far too young.
Yeah.
And, I was very sad and very enraged by the climate that was swirling around when they died. I've experienced, my fair share of pylons on the internet as well, and it's something that I've seen increasing over the past years, and it just makes me so sad and so angry that was happening right before they died.
You're talking about online abuse, bullying, harassment, that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Let's just take you back though to 2019, to happier times when you first met Vivienne, and this was on RuPaul's Drag Race UK. And you mentioned this in your letter, that she made quite the impression on you, Colin, didn't she?
Yeah, it was really nice seeing those clips, actually. Yeah, I remember her walking into the workroom. It was the first time I'd ever seen her, and she just came in so confident. And I was sat there just so scared, totally feeling completely out of my element. I didn't really feel like I belonged on TV and drag. And she just came to it so naturally and so confidently. It was so inspiring. And, from that moment and until her death, I was in awe of Vivienne, truly.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because, despite the huge success of shows like RuPaul's Drag Race, you say in your letter that the abuse, the hateful comments, they're ongoing, as you say, and that you say it points to a dangerous trend in recent years of the mask slipping and the public feeling more emboldened to shame queer people. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that we've seen in recent years the media and politicians using trans people and gender non-conforming people as an easy scapegoat to rile people up, to score political points, and to use as a target when no target is needed. It's something that feels like it's the recycled homophobia that we experienced in the 80s, except now there's a new target, and it's anyone who dares to present themselves in a way that is different to the gender they were assigned at birth in a public space.
And you know what? For all the nastiness that there is online, I know that there's a big tribute happening this weekend at Dancing on Ice because the Vivienne was on that, and there's a lot of love for her out there as well.
Absolutely.
And they really enjoyed their time on the show. Made a big impression, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the tributes this week have been amazing. It's been so wonderful to see so many people sharing so many positive stories.
Yeah. Well, listen, despite everything else, a lot of love there. And Colin, thank you so much for coming to talk to us and highlight this issue. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Well, if you have been affected by any of the issues we've been talking about, just head over to our website for more information on help and support. That's at itv.com/London. All right, sport now. And West Ham are looking for a new manager.
Xero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, Julian Lopetegui has been sacked after just 6 months in charge of the Hammers. He was appointed back in May following the departure of long-term predecessor David Moyes. Saturday's 4-1 defeat by Manchester City was the 9th loss in 20 league games this season and left the club just 7 points above the relegation zone. In a statement, the club said performance had not aligned with their ambitions. Tottenham Hotspur have joined the transfer race for Man United forward Marcus Rashford. After being snubbed for the all-important Manchester derby, Rashford revealed that he wanted to leave his boyhood club and has not played in the last 6 games. As well as Spurs, AC Milan and Barcelona are also said to be considering taking on the 27-year-old on loan. Sticking with football, and managers are known for their excuses when it comes to losing a game. Injuries, limited preparation time, poor pitch conditions. But last night, Mikel Arteta took an unexpected route. He blamed the ball. A 2-0 defeat against Newcastle handed Arsenal their first home defeat of the season, with the Gunners' boss saying the Puma ball flew differently. Unusual, yes, but not the first, as Rags Martel reports.
It's just different, very different to the Premier League ball, and you have to adapt to that because it flies different. When you touch it, the grip is very different as well. So you adapt to that.
So the ball used in last night's Carabao Cup is made by Puma, but the one they use in the Premier League is made by Nike. And the big difference between the two is in the stitching. Puma's ball has these 12 panels, but Nike's is made up of only 4. The manufacture of footballs has almost become a science and is sometimes controversial, like this Adidas ball. There were complaints about their ballooning Jubilani model in the 2010 World Cup, despite being built to regulation standards.
So every football that's developed has different characteristics. So even though they all satisfy the major primary requirements, it's a bit like talking to an artist and saying, well, you're just using a paintbrush, right? But the very best players in the world will notice subtle differences in the way that the ball's made, from the materials, from the construction, and it responds slightly differently, and they get used to it over the course of using it.
OK, Sally is here. Now, Sally, we're going to talk about snow in a bit.
OK.
But first of all, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it's January the 8th, but we are still talking Christmas.
Oh, I'm so excited about next year. No, this year. Well, we're talking about trees because many of us have got pine needles all over our homes as we've brought the trees out. But if you don't put them in landfill and you get them chipped, it's really good for the environment. And there's another way you can do it, of raising money for charities as well. There's a charity called Just Helping who've helped the North London Hospice collect trees from around their area, and it's raised money for them and it's got rid of people's trees. So let's take a little look. I went out with them today.
You're giving me the spiky end.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. But
you look like a gentleman.
I've got the butt end though, so not so good.
It's that time of year when one must prepare to be prickled. These Christmas trees may be dead, but they're having quite the legacy here in Enfield.
They smell amazing. Beautiful. This is the best Christmas tree smell I've had all year, apart from the candle I bought, which smells of trees. They're lovely, aren't they?
They're being collected by 45 volunteers like Nick in exchange for donations to North London Hospice, which needs to raise a staggering amount every year.
£11 million is a lot, and money is really scarce.
and it's a very competitive environment for charities. We have also the additional strain on us with the national insurance contribution increase that the government has put on, which is going to be about £350,000. So projects like this are so important to help bridge the gap.
Local businesses have loaned lorries to help.
You're going to find pine needles everywhere tonight, aren't you? They're all going to be down your... Your wife will be like, where have you been?
And then the trees are taken to a drop-off.
So here we go, they've collected about 300 of these today, and this is where the environment bit comes in, because these will all be chipped tomorrow and not end up in landfill.
Oh. Keeping spirits up in the cold, this little helper. And the whole event has been organised by Just Helping, who are Christmas tree collection experts.
Across the country, roughly how much money have you raised for local charities, and how much carbon have you stopped going into the environment?
Well, this year we have raised almost £1.5 million, so that will be around 1.5 million kilograms of CO2 saved across the country.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's all about the environment, it's all about bringing communities together, and it's about raising that funds for those small charities to provide the services they do for free.
And the volunteers couldn't agree more.
Was it just a no-brainer for you to help at the North London Hospice?
Absolutely. It's a wonderful, wonderful place.
Oh, cheers guys, that was a good day's work. I picked up a tree. You did quite a lot though.
They certainly did, and they're back tomorrow. Many hands make light work and raise money.
Oh, Sally, at least you got a cuppa out of it, which is nice. Much needed because it's freezing today. And I want to talk to you about snow. Last weekend, a slight dusting.
Yeah.
Possibly a lot more tonight.
Well, the warning area is now being extended to cover the whole of London, and there is some falling. It's not really settling. I mean, there's a little bit settling here or there, but we're not expecting much accumulation. But, you know, even a tiny bit of snow can still be a pain and cause a bit of hassle. So if you are heading out, just watch out for that. But look at this. This was 340 years ago, in 1684, it was so cold that the Thames froze and they had frost fair on it. Apparently the ice got to like a foot deep. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
It's very romantic. Hopefully not too stinky, actually.
Yes.
Well, if it wasn't. If it was frozen, it would be nice. But anyway, here's the forecast for tonight. Let's take a look.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus, the renewable energy company.
Hello again. Now, I hope you had a lovely day. Look at these deer here fighting in the frost. Home from home, hey? And how about this for a haircut? I think people would pay a lot of money for this. This is Doodle, apparently, looking very stunning there. Now, our weather for the rest of this evening is going to stay really cold. I mentioned we've got the potential for snow, winter sunshine as we go on into tomorrow, and then cloudier for Friday. Let's crack on with the details. So some of this rain could turn into sleet and snow, hence why we've got the warning in place, but eventually it will clear off out of the way. We hold on to quite a lot of cloud overnight, so we're not expecting as much frost perhaps, but we still can't rule it out, and there could still be some icy stretches around. So take care tomorrow morning. It's going to get down to around freezing, and it'll be a cold start wherever you are. So as we go on into tomorrow, once that cloud and any of those early showers have moved off out of the way, we've got a really nice winter's day for you. You can see plenty of sunshine here on the graphics, maybe a bit of cloud here or there, but not too much, hopefully, to spoil things. Fairly light winds. They are a bit more northerly, so it is going to feel chilly, highs of just 2 to 4 degrees. As we go into the evening, because we've got lots of clear skies tomorrow night, we're expecting a sharper frost, so another really chilly one as we head on into Friday. Now let's take a little look at Friday. This system is heading our way. However, it looks like that high pressure might halt it, so perhaps we'll probably stay dry on Friday at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Into Saturday, fairly settled, but probably the best of any sunshine the further east you live, maybe cloudier the further west. You can see our temperatures wherever you are, whatever time it is, are going to be feeling really cold. That's it. I'll see you later on. Cheerio.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And finally, London was named as one of the best cities in the world for coffee last year. Now news that your morning cup of joe does more than just perk you up. In the first study of its kind, researchers have found that if you drink it the right way, coffee is actually good for your heart, and even decaf works. Here's Faye Barker with the findings.
The grind of the beans, the fresh aroma. For coffee lovers, it's a crucial part of a morning routine. Now it seems the time of day you drink coffee can make an impact on the benefits.
Oh, at least
4 cups in the morning, but I never drink after midday.
Say 1 in the morning, that's essential for my own survival, and then 1 now, and then 1 after lunch.
Research published in the European Heart Journal looked at more than 40,000 adults over 10 years. They discovered that those who drank coffee in the morning had a 16% lower risk of death compared to non-coffee drinkers and a 31% reduced risk of dying from heart disease. But for those who drank coffee all day, no such benefits were found.
Researchers say the effects aren't only driven by caffeine, but other components in the coffee too. So both caffeinated and decaf coffee has the same benefit, as long as they're drunk in the morning.
Time of day is significant, as drinking coffee later on can disrupt our body clock and the hormones that affect our sleep.
Oh, there's a lot of evidence that that drinking coffee is actually good for you overall. And so, no, that's completely unsurprising, the fact that drinking coffee in the mornings is beneficial for heart health. I think it would be good to see other studies that could either support or refute this.
So all of this sounds good for coffee lovers. The challenge perhaps will be to walk away from that brew later in the day. Faye Barker, ITV News.
And that is it from us. Mary is here next with the evening news, but for now, from all of us on the London team, bye-bye, have a great evening.